real quick and then move on to Pakistan carrying out deadly military strikes on
New this
Iran.
morning, Iran is demanding answers amid an escalating spat with Pakistan. Overnight, Pakistan launched retaliatory strikes on targets in southeastern Iran, just across their shared border. Pakistan claims it took out a number of militants, but Iran says mostly women and children were killed. This is coming just a day after Iran said it fired missiles and drones at militant strongholds inside Pakistan. Local officials say 2 children were killed there. CNN's Ivan Watson is following all of these details for us. Ivan, these really are, and this is an extraordinary moment with Pakistan and Iran launching strikes against each other. What does it mean for the region?
Well, I think it just underscores, Sarah, how volatile the Middle East and Central Asia are right now, because even 48 hours ago, you couldn't have imagined these 2 neighbors getting into this tit-for-tat, deadly cross-border missile strike situation, because the Prime Minister of Pakistan was meeting with the Foreign Minister of Iran in Davos on Tuesday. The 2 navies, they were conducting joint naval exercises at the beginning of this week. And then out of nowhere, the Iranians fire these missiles into Pakistani territory, saying they're hitting militants who've carried out attacks inside Iran in the past. And it totally shocks the Pakistani ruling establishment, which calls it basically a disruption of Pakistan's sovereignty, says at least 2 children were killed in the strikes, and there are calls for retaliation. And that's what a number of hours ago the Pakistan...
Don't they both hate America, or does Pakistan have some sort of U.S.-backed group? Listen, both of these countries have a litany of issues, okay, in their domestic affairs and even in their foreign policy. But let's just say that Pakistan, well, let's think about it this way. Pakistan has nukes. Do with that information what you will. No, that's not a U.S. That's not a HasanAbi doctrine thing. Yes, Pakistan is a U.S. client state, but unlike Japan or Korea, they do the dirty work without receiving the benefit of the industry that Japan and Korea did. Yes, Pakistan is a U.S. client state. There's no better example of Pakistan being a U.S. client state than like slightly deviating away from American hegemonic positions and getting punished severely for it in the form of a light military coup that has been ongoing in Pakistan currently, where Imran Khan and his supporters, and now you might not like Imran Khan, okay? You don't have to be the biggest Imran Khan fan, but the idea that like all of his supporters are currently being arrested after mass protests, and all of his like party members are being arrested and being forced to not participate in the electoral process in Pakistan without America ever mentioning it, and this is something that has been ongoing for a long time now, should get you to think about it a little bit, get you to think about it a little bit further. Not to mention harboring Osama bin Laden completely to the knowledge of the U.S. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about that part, but yes, that definitely is interesting as well. Pakistan's an interesting country. That's all I'm going to say. This tit for tat isn't specifically about Iran or Pakistan. It's about the Baloch people that Iran and Pakistan are fucking over and have been fucking over for decades. Both Iran and Pakistan are trying to quell the Baloch separatist movements, which is why Iran attacked Balochistan in Pakistan and vice versa. Yeah, not to mention that the CIA literally propped up Islamic fundamentalism in Pakistan in order to spread to Afghanistan and accrue a group of freedom fighters. That is the prime example of being a client state. Okay, this does not give Indian chatters the excuse to start shitting on Pakistan either across the board. Okay, Schadenfreude, come on now. Never misses a motherfucking opportunity, this guy. I mean, he's like, what? Okay, we're shitting on Pakistan. I'm there. I'll be there no matter what, he says. Anyway. I can come on and explain this more in detail. Let's get through the basics here real quick, and then I'll have you on. Is that all right?
Any military basically claimed responsibility for, saying that it fired, quote, killer drones, rockets, loitering munitions, and standoff weapons into Iranian territory after targets that it claimed were ethnic Baluch separatist militants who.
These specific strikes, however, have very little to do with the U.S. Yeah, I was just giving a broader analysis of Pakistan in general to the chatters. I don't think that these are specifically about, these are specifically related to the U.S. Obviously, nothing is done globally without the United States, like, having at least somewhat of a say in the process. Like, but I do think that this goes back to what I've said that liberals would probably agree with me on, but I do think that as America's soft power and even hard power as well, to a certain degree, starts waning globally, I do think that you will see more and more regional actors behave in ways that previously they would look to get permission from the United States before behaving in that way. Like, and this even pertains to obviously client states or specifically allies. Like India assassinating dudes in Canada is another example of this, right? Or even Maduro, in an effort to, I don't know, gain more popularity, will hit the nationalism button a little bit and claim that he's going to go and fucking invade Guyana. Like, that is an example of countries not utilizing the chaos and commotion that America is creating because it can't maintain its hegemonic superpower status as well to, I don't know, advance the living conditions and the material interests of the citizens, but instead becoming like their own petty little fucking despots, their own petty little tyrants, and just absolutely, you know, what? If you think Palestine exists, you're not, oh, come on. Grandma Phase, hit me with a good take. You don't have to ban him. First of all, guys like this, you don't have to ban. We can give them like a day off, okay? Because that does the same thing as banning them anyway. If you think Palestine exists, you're not American. And if you take pride in being un-American, it's time to book a flight. I mean, come on. This is like, I value this kind of commentary. I forget that there are different kinds of racists out there that are fun to talk to. All right, let's continue.
Who they accuse of having operated from across this very long and porous border. So it's a messy situation. The Pakistanis seem to be leaving the door open to some kind of de-escalation right now, and the ball does appear to be in Iran's court, though Pakistan has withdrawn its ambassador from Tehran, and it has said that Iran's ambassador to the Pakistani capital is not really welcome at this time. So this really is a diplomatic crisis between these two neighbors who basically didn't have any beef more than 48 hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, it is extremely troubling and extremely rare. I don't know that we've seen this in our lifetimes. And thank you for clarifying that we are talking about Central Asia as well. A lot of people think that Pakistan.
My dad is getting upset that you call Pakistan a U.S. client state. Let me find out. I mean, yeah, Pakistan lying too. Okay, my bad. No, the Pakistani military is not directly, it does not get its directives from the CIA. And the Pakistani intelligence is not basically like the outsourced CIA at all. Like I said, there's deviations from America's interests. Sometimes, you know, they do the Turkey thing a little bit, right? But ultimately, they fall in line. I know this from my own personal experience from Turkey and how Turkey operates. But you should ask your dad why Imran Khan is in the position that he's in. Or, I don't know, read any of the Intercept articles that were written on this by Reinger and Murtaza Hussein. That's like, they've done phenomenal coverage that is actually like, it's gotten a lot of press, as a matter of fact. The people of Pakistan, I don't know if they're super fond of America. Understandably, they probably aren't, but the government is a whole different, not even the government, but the military is a whole different issue.
Is the Middle East. Thank you. Appreciate it, Ivan. John, this makes me really fearful of a huge conflagration.
Look, there's a lot going on here. This is the location.
I think calling these countries client states is a little unproductive and ignores nuances. I get your point, but it makes people who have more knowledge on said country be more skeptical of your commentary. Well, how would you frame Pakistan if not a client state? I mean, not even in this issue, but in general. And before you say Pakistan has close relations to China recently, USA was an ally before, but not so much anymore. The fact that Pakistan is acquiring J-31s from China just shows how distant they are from the USA, not to mention the Pakistan Navy was doing exercise in Iran, this whole Yemeni circumstance. Great. Wait. Except that's why I said it's like Turkey. Turkey is a client state. How many times do I have to reiterate? Turkey is a NATO state. It's a client state. It's a nuclear. It's a state that houses American nukes in its American military bases inside of its borders. Turkey has defense systems that it purchased from Russia. This was a big point of contention. America refused to sell Turkey any more F-16s, even, including the new F-35 program that Turkey literally was not even allowed to purchase from, despite the fact that parts of the F-35 were being manufactured inside of Turkish national boundaries. Okay? And Turkey got their, yes, S-400 air defense systems from Russia. One thing that I also found out that I find really interesting, and I got to look this up actually, is that I believe, hold on, before I say it, I'm going to look it up. There's another country that isn't, hold on. Yeah, there's another country that I think also participated in a little bit of Russian missile systems purchasing. The S-300 system. That's Greece, though. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different because, like, it's in the 90s, but I didn't know that. I did not know that Greece had Russian missile systems, Russian missile defense systems. All right, let's continue.
Of the Pakistani strike inside Iran, and you can see some of the aftermath right there of what took place. This is the video. This is the Pakistani strike inside Iran, and then the Iranian strike inside Pakistan was about here. With us now to discuss is retired General Peter Zwack. He is a global fellow at the Wilson Center and served as U.S. Senior Defense Attaché to the Russian Federation. Again, Pakistan is a nuclear power, General. Iran, frankly, about to be a nuclear power. an exchange of fire back and forth here. What's the U.S. interest in this?
Well, the U.S. interest in this is tremendous. Obviously, we will watch closely. Our diplomats certainly are working behind the scenes. Certainly with Pakistan. Remember, Pakistan and India had a near miss, potentially nuclear-wise, in 2019. But when you look, John, at the whole aggregate of the Middle East and now Central Asia, from the Mediterranean all the way to Iran, Pakistan, Baluchistan, almost the Afghan border, and then strikes and hits in Beirut, in Damascus, in Kerman, in Iran, near the Pakistani border, and now you have Pakistan and Iran. Yeah, this is really, really dangerous. Not to mention Yemen and the ongoing horror.
Dude, this guy's awesome. He said Yemen
in Gaza.
Well, you talked about Yemen. Let's take a look at what the U.S. continues to do. The U.S. continues to try to strike Houthi targets inside Yemen. These are just some of the locations that have been hit. 4 rounds of attacks now. The U.S. continues to say it doesn't seek.
You say Bangladesh, dog? Yeah, that's how that's how I learned how to say it. So I'm trying to say it in English, but that's how I learned how to say it. He's American.
Wider conflict, but 4 rounds of attacks, General. Isn't it already a wider conflict?
It already is a wider, if you will, but a round of conflict. But we can see that the U.S. and the allied targeteers assisting them have been careful and measured in what they hit. They're still going in after installations. They're going after the anti-ship missile launching sites and drone locations. So it's been measured in that way. Yet the Houthis go out. They've hit a couple of container ships recently, including a U.S. flagged one. And I worry that you have a lot of stuff flying there. Something eventually hits. And what happens when one of those missiles hits a U.S. or coalition ship or entity or base, and people are killed?
What does this have to do with the Houthis? Well, they're saying that like the region is already a powder keg.
Killed in this level of tension all around that I've described in the whole Middle East and now Central Asia.
It sounds like you're saying the U.S. attacks so far have not been much of a deterrent on the Houthis.
Yeah, except here, we got to cover this. This is like an incredible admission. And perhaps a perfect distillation, most concise summary of U.S. foreign policy available out there. A reporter asked Brandon, are the airstrikes against the Houthis working? Here's Brandon's answer.
Yemen working? Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
It's awesome. I mean, that's the most Trumpian take you could arrive at. Now, liberals hate the orange man. Liberals hate the orange man. Orange man bad, we all say. This is such an orange man answer. At least he isn't balding. What did he say? He responded to the question, are the airstrikes against the Houthis working? He said, well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes. I want to know where the liberals are. The champion Brandon support squad. What do they have to say about this? I mean, another Libs are going to hate you for pointing this out. It sucks because they're not working because Twitch streamer Hasan Piker is interviewing their most loyal soldiers and baby girling them. Yeah, that's why they're not working. Now, I've been saying this since day one. Day one, I've been saying that if your goal is to like destabilize the Ansarallah administration, that's going to fail. If your goal is to get them to stop trying to intercept commercial vessels and make it so that it is difficult to traverse the Red Sea, an important choke point for commerce, that is also failing seemingly. And people have been very upset about me pointing this out. So what is the real reason to keep bombing Yemen? What's the real reason why you're just doing it? Spread the fun around? We got too many bombs we got to get rid of? Is that what it is? Maybe take the attention away? Take the heat away from Israel? I don't know. U.S. has to get rid of the Iran regime. I like this idea that like the United States has to get rid of the Iranian regime. A regime that has only, in a way that is not dissimilar to Yemen, gotten more and more hardline over the course of many, many years and literally even gained prominence as a consequence of American destabilization. At what point do we look at America's foreign policy and go, hey, this is kind of crazy. Maybe we should stop trying to deal with the problem militarily because it has only been a demonstrable failure. Now, of course, it's not a demonstrable failure. It actually has been a success if you think about it from the perspective of the military-industrial complex. From that position, yes, as long as there's like pot shots and back and forth fighting, and that constitutes an endless need for more military gear, more weapons, more bombs, and the like, and more R&D, okay, then yes, it has been a tremendous success. Okay? The problem is, ain't nobody's making money in the soft power diplomatic industrial complex, okay? That's the issue. The biggest threat to the U.S. is the U.S. regime. The biggest threat to the U.S. is the U.S. regime. Oh, 100%. There is not a single place that has gotten better off as a consequence of American bombs and American intervention. Okay? Weird things that the CIA is responsible for this regime. Listen. American intervention historically in the MENA region, especially so, but definitely globally, has almost always created way more reactionary hardliners. Hardline reactionary fascists that we have installed that champion neoliberalism, like Pinochet, or hardliner reactionaries that, run on the anti-Western position and secure power by positioning themselves as the opposite, like as securing themselves as the anti-Western, anti-American leaders. And then, instead of trying to correct course and normalize relations with said countries and try to have a infinitely better relationship, and I think a good example of this would be, like, to a certain degree, because of the economic interest there, China. Okay? You end up pushing them further and further away, and they keep trying to dominate the region. the world would be like Wild West without American intervention. Yeah, definitely. Because currently the world is not Wild West. The world is already Wild West. It's just you live in America, so you don't see it. And when you do see it, and when I do talk to someone who's living in the Wild West, most people go, dude, what are you talking about? That guy's a terrorist that deserves to be perished immediately by a laser-guided munition system. What are you doing? It's so funny that in many ways, also, by the way, yeah, I wonder where the Wild West is from. In many ways, exactly the same principles that apply in Gaza with Hamas is happening in a much broader scale globally or in every other country. Israel's actions upon the Palestinian population is, the American playbook globally. It's obviously a lot more involved than the American playbook globally because the Americans already did their settler colonialism and successfully carried out an indigenous genocide. So the rest of the places where we engage in colonial actions are oftentimes just simply occupation or continued efforts to destabilize and the like. I don't know how else to describe the situation and how it is unfolding in the Middle East beyond it is a demonstrable failure of epic proportions, but it's also, regular old business. Business as usual.